the hurt and all the pain and all the suffering that is going on in the world, you think that that's going on everywhere. But there are good things going on in the world. There are positive things going on in the world. If you watch the news all the time, all you will get is the negative. You have to come apart, come out of there, and let God fill you with his peace. Because he said, my peace I give to you. He said he'd never leave you, and he is there. So seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. I know you might say, well, it's easy for you to say you're not going through what I'm going through. You don't know what I'm going through. I'm going through so much, but I know what the word says. I'm standing on the promises. I'm not standing on the premises. I'm standing on the promises, because I know God's word says I am healed. God's word says I am sealed. God's words call me more than an overcomer, and so are you. We are blood washed. We have a purpose in this life. We are more than an overcomer. God has a purpose for our life. Job said in everything that he went through, he lost his children, he lost his home, he lost so much, but friends said, Job, why don't you just curse God and die? And Job said, no, the Lord giveth and the Lord take away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And we have to stand on the same promises. There's going to be things that come into your life. There's going to be things that leave your life. But as long as you have King Jesus, you can make it. The world might see you as poor and just without a care or without any hope. But God is our hope. God is our peace. He's our joy. He's our peace in the midst of the storm. He's a very pleasant, present help in times of trouble. If you'll seek him, my brothers and sisters, you will find him, because he's there. You just have to look and search, and don't focus on what you can't control. You can control getting on your knees and calling up on the Holy One of Israel. I'm sure his name is Yeshua, and he is the God of the age. He is the only God, the true living God. So trust him with all your heart, and lean not upon your own understanding. And remember, there's a way out of your mess, and it's JESUS.
Where can you buy a brand new Nissan with a lifetime warranty? Kingston Pike. Hey folks, Gerald Anderson with Ted Russell Nissan. You heard it right. Every new Ted Russell Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, and that's a long, long time. Ted Russell Nissan on Kingston Pike.
Good morning, and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Roane, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome into Wednesday edition of Ask Your Neighbor. It is the third Wednesday of the month. We're happy to have Anderson County Sheriff Russell Barker in studio with us this morning. Good morning, Sheriff Barker. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
Fantastic. Okay, never mind. You're good. Now I got you. Good. Glad to have you. How's everything going, sir?
Everything's good.
Good. Good is good.
Yeah, I mean, run-of-the-mill stuff, the big news we were talking about just before we went on air, this Trinidad Aragua
These gangs.
Venezuelan gang, yeah. So TBI Director Roush made that announcement that they have a presence in all of our major cities across Tennessee. And, we've got a lot of calls from media asking us. We've not seen it in Anderson County, and according to all surrounding counties, Knox and everybody, they're saying they haven't seen it. But interestingly enough, just last night, we were notified by the Shelby County Sheriff that they made an arrest Monday night of one that was verified through Interpol.
Gotcha.
And he had previously been charged with murder in Venezuela, and he's currently in Louisiana being deported. And Hamilton County, I don't know if it was Chattanooga or the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, but they got 3 the same night.
Wow.
Narcotics and firearms. They're a really, it's not uncommon.
They're more like a drug trafficking or a drug trafficking, person trafficking organization.
Their niche is human trafficking.
Yeah.
That and sex workers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's their 2 things.
Yeah.
People. So they have a real stronghold in Venezuela, and there's speculation that they're in cahoots with the president of Venezuela. I forget his name, Mondaro or something. But they are. They have.
It's not Spanky though.
No, it's not. But they are. It's not uncommon for them to slide in and fly under the radar, and then all of a sudden we spot them. But this group has been particularly sneaky, it seems.
Well, and we are a prime candidate with I-40, I-75. We're going north and south. We're going east and west, and you can get across the country on either one of them, either way. So we're going to be a highly traveled. If they're not stopping around here, they're definitely passing through.
Yeah, that's. One of the things that we learned through that 313 initiative with Detroit and the heroin.
Yeah.
I-75 was a major vein for the Detroit boys.
Yeah.
When they were bringing, they're still doing it. I mean, as soon as you knock one down, another one pops up. But that is something we learned through that for sure. Or I guess we've always known it, but it just really. That is such a big initiative that it really sent that lesson home.
Well, and when they, I knew about it because Tracy was like, "Look at this! These gangs are here." You know what I mean? And I guess better to be aware and better to be on your toes than them to surprise us. But
so one news report that was super interesting. And look, I don't care what your politics are. It's what we've been experiencing at the border. That's why they're here.
Sure.
That's the bottom line. But I watched this interview of one of the assistant chiefs with the NYPD. So they have taken over the Roosevelt Hotel in New York. So they've shut that down from tourists and whomever, and it's now a migrant hotel. And evidently they have a stronghold in there. And that is right outside Times Square. And
I know exactly where it is. That's where I stayed at Times Square.
Yeah,
exactly where it is.
And so NYPD was just, it was shocking what they
have they hamstrung the NYPD? Because I could fix that pretty quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could fix that pretty quick. Me and you together. It would just take a little tear gas and maybe some big guns. You could fix that in a few minutes.
No, NYPD. It was the assistant chief said they were on it. But
how do you take over a whole hotel though?
Well, it's all migrants, and so the government's providing that for free to the migrants. But they're charging rent.
So the government's charging rent to paying the hotel owner. We're paying it to house migrants, and so the gang has moved the migrants, and now they're charging the migrants.
Well, they're allowing the migrants to stay. They're using it, according to this chief. They're using it as a recruiting effort out of that hotel, and of course they're charging either rent, protection money, whatever.
But I just can't fathom it. The chief of police says this is going on, and is helpless to stop it because it's federal?
That I don't know. I'm sure, he didn't go into details about any investigations they have, just that.
And you know what? The owner's probably not complaining because he's probably getting full rate from the government on time, in time, all the time.
Yes.
You minding your money.
So the other thing that was interesting about that is
we can pay for that for them, but we can't put homeless veterans up. Thank God Donald Trump got elected and these clowns are out.
Yeah. Another thing he said was they are starting some kind of beef with the Latin Kings up there, which is heavy.
So that's going to end up being a lot of people getting shot and maybe innocent people in the crossfires and gang wars.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's shocking.
Like it was before Rudy Giuliani took over.
Yes.
Exactly like it was.
So, and he specifically talked about that one of the things that they're really big on, which has happened in the past, but not to this level, is what it sounded like. They are recruiting people as young as 8 years old.
Oh, my Lord.
Because of two things he said that were really causing issues for him in New York City. One was, and this is around the country, there's no consequences for somebody that young. So the TAD gang members have them rob people at gunpoint. 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds, right?
So a kid walks up to you, you're not, but you're not, I don't get scared of an 8-year-old walking up to me until he pulls a gun.
Yeah. And so he robs you, and even if you do catch him, it's some sort of adjudication, because it's all about reform with juveniles, right? So they don't even get locked up, really. And then, of course, the other thing he said was the bail reform issues they have up there.
Holy cow. That's scary.
It
is scary. I mean, that's just, but how do you, I don't know. I just, for the life of me, it doesn't make any sense. It makes me confused and mad that they just say, well, we can't do anything about it. You can. For about 1/100th of what you're paying for one day of putting them in a hotel, you can put them on a plane and drop them off right in the center of Venezuela and say, come back and we'll shoot you.
So one of the things that is that I think we got wrong somewhere is, I remember this coming out of Guantanamo when we were snagging terrorists and putting them in Guantanamo. We were given the same rights we give our own citizens as far as attorneys and Miranda rights and things like that. Well, these are not
citizens.
Yeah, that's my thing. And I think how we got there, I have no clue. But I don't think particularly if you're here illegally, you don't have rights.
No, I think you.
It's for citizens.
See, and if we did that, if we did just that, if we said, now, if y'all come over here illegal and you commit a capital crime, felony of wherever they're going to set the bar, you're going to do the time. Period. If you're found guilty, you're going to do the time, and you're not going to get all these special things. Or we're going to send you, and then you're going to go back. I mean, if they kill somebody, I would say lock them up for life. If they just steal a car, I'd say put them on a plane or in a van and get them down to the border and send them back and threaten them with whatever to get.
Right.
It's not a hard solution. It's going to be hard now that there's 20 million of them, 20 million people. But it's not hard to fix this problem. When you got a leak in the boat, the first thing you do is plug the leak. You don't bail you plug the leak before you start bailing water.
Right.
It's like, it's.
But it's going to be really interesting
to
see how we respond.
I think that again, when I don't have words, it's something weird. I just don't. It's far beyond my comprehension. Like I said, if they called me today and said, "Can you get these people out of the Roosevelt Hotel? You have the U.S. military at your complete disposal," I would say, "You got about 15 minutes," because that's about what it would take. Roll a tank up there. I'm serious. Roll a tank up there and about 3,000 men, and say, "You guys got about 30 minutes to clear out and get in those buses." or we're going to start shooting you. Men first. That's what I would do.
So on the bail bonds, the District Attorney's Conference and Chief of Police Association and Tennessee Sheriff's Association, we're all working on some bail bond reform as well. So legislation last year went into effect in July. They've got this new thing, and I'm not, honestly, it kind of slid by everybody. We don't know why it came about, but if someone gets arrested and then they make bond, and then they fail to appear, the new law says that it started out as 10 days to get the FTA into NCIC, and if you didn't, the bail bonds company gets to come off of the bond.
Now, how does that mean? When you come off the bond, you mean they get the COAC? The courts allow them to no longer be responsible for the guy for 10 days.
10 days. So we got that changed to 10 business days, right? But the problem we have, and we were just down there at a Senate committee hearing where we testified. The problem is, and it's from the day the guy fails to appear. But what the sheriffs were saying was the issue is we have a judge that has to sign the order, send it to the clerk's office. They do their thing and then get it to us. And in some cases, depending on holidays, weather, we may not get. It may be the 11th day when we get it. And we just thought that puts an unfair burden on the taxpayers.
Sure.
Because once the bondsmen are let off the bond, it's now on the taxpayer to go get them.
So who falls under that umbrella? That is that anybody, or is it just
all bonds?
Jeez Louise.
And there's this new extradition thing that's
because up to that, it's the bond. The bond, he wants to keep his money.
Oh yeah, he gets paid. And then, because of some
technicality, he keeps their money, and they don't go to court.
Yeah, when my whole personal opinion, it says in TSA, but like, he's the one making the money. He's the one.
Dog the bounty hunter.
Yeah,
go hire him.
He should go, and he should not be let off, in my opinion.
I agree. I mean, if you, I did not. That just is foreign.
It's insane.
Yeah, we've gotten so.
Excuse me.
So well intentioned. Like I said before, so earthly minded or so heavenly minded. We're no earthly good. You know what I mean? I think a lot of things start with good intentions, and they're prostituted and just contorted to where they end up something like that. People getting that.
So there's another thing too. This new GPS monitoring law. It's complicated. Best intentions in the world, but it's problematic. So
prohibiting how much you can or can't GPS monitor
ankle monitors. So what it is now with aggravated assaults, some domestic violence cases, it's up to the judge's discretion. Once you make bond, right? So for example, if you get arrested for domestic violence, historically, you pull your 12 hours, the mandatory cool-off period, and then you make bond, and you're released. And then you have these stipulations, you can't go around this person, blah, blah, blah. Well, now, the judge, if it's just I hate to say run-of-the-mill, but it's not aggravated.
Gotcha.
It's just a fight. The judge can mandate that you wear an ankle monitor. Now, what does that mean to us? So you can't make bond until you've gone before the judge to find out if you're going to get one. All right. So you could, in theory, pull more than 12 hours.
3 days if you go on Friday night till Monday morning.
Till you're arraigned, right? And then here is the real niche. So let's say your bond is set at $5,000.
Okay.
You pay a bondsman $500.
Gotcha.
They keep that money. So you wait for your arraignment, and it could be aggravated, or the judge deems in this domestic violence situation an ankle monitor is warranted. you now have to pay a monitoring company for your ankle monitor. Now, if you can't afford it, you sit in jail.
Wow.
There's no funding mechanism to pay for the indigent.
And is it so? What we're it's making the process more. There's more red tape. And what's the downside? I mean, unless you're the guy getting arrested, obviously, I know the downside.
Yeah. The downside would be, for example, you have a guy who has $500 to post his bond. Hey, keep in mind, he's not been convicted yet, right? It's alleged, and there's probable cause for the arrest.
And it's a bondable thing.
Bondable, yeah. He's done his 12. He can pay the $500 on that.
To bond out.
Fictitious $5,000. But if he can't afford the ankle monitor,
he goes back to jail.
He just sits in jail.
So now he's in jail for not having money, opposed to.
So there's some question of whether it's constitutional.
I was going to say that's infringing on his rights once he's met his burden.
And so no, and again, it was created with the best intentions, but practical, it wasn't.
Is that just in the state of Tennessee? Or
yes, state of Tennessee.
Are they relicking the calf? They're trying.
Yeah, they're taking a look at it. So, like for example, but at the end of the day, if you can't afford it, taxpayers pick up the ticket.
Always.
And
we're picking it up whether we're funding the GPS monitor, whether we're letting the bondsman go and paying that, or whether we're feeding them and giving them 3 hots and a kite. We're funding it no matter what.
And then there's a thing that I have some issues with in the sense of the way the statute reads. If you get in the arrearage on your GPS ankle monitor, that could send you back. So that puts me as the sheriff and my deputies.
Let's start us an ankle monitor business, Russell.
Yeah,
we can do that.
That puts us in the role of a debt collector.
You arrest them and I'll clip them.
So that's something we're working on too.
We've gotten to a point. I love this country with all my heart. I do, and we are based on biblical principles of, being better to your fellow man. And I understand all those intentions, but we've become a nation that protects criminals and people who aren't from here 15 to 20 times better with more money. We spend more on criminals than we spend on veterans. We're spending more on illegal alien criminals than we're spending on veterans or people with mental issues, mental health issues, drug addiction. You go into your upper middle class of the United States of America, men or women for that matter, or their kids, mental health issues. But if you're from Venezuela and you want to walk across the border, you get all the health care, you get all the food, you get to stay in Times Square for New Year's Eve at the Roosevelt. That would cost me and you about $5,000 a night.
Yeah.
That's again, thank God in heaven he chose mercy and Donald Trump was elected instead of justice and gave us what we deserve. And the communist Kamala Harris or whoever she is, Indian or whatever.
So they I can tell you this locally. Your Judge Spitzer, Judge Tuck, Judge Bowling, the mayor, district attorney's office, and myself. We've had several meetings trying to figure this out on the GPS ankle monitoring because it is state law, but it's problematic for all phases of the criminal justice system.
One good point, we've got a police chief going to Nashville as a legislator.
Yes. So
that he can explain it from the blue standpoint and say, this is what's going to happen. This is where we're running into problems. You're going to end up violating somebody's rights after we arrest them. So that's, at least we got that.
And it's just like I said, the intentions were right. And one of the things that we're seeing too, this GPS ankle monitoring, the police chiefs are in an uproar because the bulk of those alerts go off in the municipalities because it's where the population is most dense, right? But then it's like, who does it alert? The sheriff's office or does it alert the local PD?
Whose responsibility to respond?
Yeah, and then on top of that, it's 1,200 feet, which is a half mile, right?
From the other person.
Yeah.
So how do you know?
So imagine this: somebody is cutting hair. The victim works at the post office at the front counter, and they pull up to the red light there at Clinton Drugstore. Beep. Yeah, we get an alert, and it doesn't. Or the example they used early on was the victim walks in on the grocery side of Walmart, and the suspect has no idea they're there, or the offender walks in on the home side. You get an alert. Police arrive. How does one cop handle that?
How have they? How have you all been?
Well,
or what do you do? Have you been faced with it yet?
So the only thing that currently, and this is, I mean, you talking about being behind, it sends the alert, but the only thing it tells us is that this victim has his or her offender is
within a half mile,
within 1,200 feet. It doesn't tell us a phone number. It doesn't tell us who the offender is. We don't even know who we're looking for.
Do you know the victim or any of their information? Because if you could alert,
if it's a county case,
if you could alert the victim and say,
well, they get alerted.
So their phone goes off and says, so and so is within a half mile of you.
Yeah, and so all right, so
do that.
Here's another thing. Depending on, we signed a contract with a GPS monitoring company. The mayor has, right? So I'm not sure the details of theirs, but in the statute, the victim can opt in or opt out of being alerted, right? Now, historically, it's their cell phone. They have to download an app, right? Mm-hmm. Or I've heard that some companies give them a second cell phone to carry, right? Now, the issue with that is the statute also says that the law enforcement agency will give them a name and phone number of a person to contact if they get an alert. Specifically, a name and number. Now, who is that person? Is it the officer who made the arrest that worked their case? Is it one person that takes all these phone calls 24/7, 365? And that has been a huge subject of debate because they said, well, I don't think that was their intentions. And my point is I've been served enough lawsuits now that it don't matter their intentions. It's what the words say.
Absolutely.
And the words say a name of a person and a number.
So how have and how have you dealt with it, or have you had to yet?
We have not had it yet. Now, I do know some of our municipalities have. For example, we had an issue where a gentleman got on ankle monitor, got out for an assault. Someone came and bonded him out. But the victim, when they listed, and that's another thing, listed the no-go zone, so to speak, for the offender, it happened to list one of the names of the person who bonded him out, one of the addresses. So he's out 20 minutes with his ankle monitor, goes home with the person that bonded him out, and Clinton police show up and rearrest him for violation. Now, he says he didn't realize that was on the list. They didn't know. They didn't put it on him, you know. Mm-hmm. It wasn't their case, but the alert happened. So they handled it right.
Sure.
By statute, by law. But yeah. it was just a mess because the guy it didn't appear to be willfully offending.
Breaching, yeah.
And then so that calls into question that we are literally, so we're having this victim tell us these are the places I frequent.
How do you really know? Maybe that's where he works.
Because these things, particularly in domestics, can get vindictive. And
no.
and so imagine, you know.
Wow.
I mean, so it's difficult.
So,
and on top of that, so let's say this. let's say everything is above board and it's not just everybody fell out of love, and it's a truly egregious, abusive situation.
Sure.
She's trying to escape. Well, so you get these locations. Well, so in return, what I do is we turn around and clip this ankle monitor on and say, you can't go to 3 street places, right?
Yeah.
Well, if he's really hell-bent on harming or killing, he now has narrowed down to 3 great places to start.
Yeah, whether or not, yeah, he knows these are the targets.
It's 3 great leads.
Yeah.
So
how is it being addressed? I mean, what are you guys?
Well,
legislature?
Yeah, we went to Senate hearings and we talked about these things. We've put together a committee of police chiefs, sheriffs, and district attorneys' offices to talk about all of it as a whole. So there was this thing called Marcy's Law. Are you familiar with it?
No.
It started in California. So this lady is killed, and her brother makes this push. Her, of course, named after her, Marcy's Law, and it was about victims' rights. And on the surface, it sounds so good, right? I mean, anybody would get behind it. But the places that has adopted Marcy's Law has run into tons of problems. And this is kind of like Marcy's Law light. They've been in Tennessee for years trying to get this passed.
Okay.
And so, like, one of the problems is as victims' rights. And, of course, on the surface, when you hear victims' rights, everybody's like, yeah, who ain't for that?
Sure.
Right? But you have to be notified of every court date and things like this. And now, where the trouble is when you go to Sessions Court, because it was a warrantless arrest, let's say, there's a lot of resets, and first is an initial appearance where you get an attorney, you're hiring one, or you're going to be given one, and then there's all the haggling of setting dates, court dates, and stuff. So your victim literally may make 2 or 3 trips or more, right? So, but Marcy's Law, I want to say accidentally, because I can't imagine this was their intent, where like a shoplifter at Food City is caught. Well, the actual victim is Food City, right? And so their headquarters out of Virginia.
Gotcha.
So it would require someone from Virginia, not from our local Clinton store, to come down and appear as the victim. Well, they're not coming on $15 shoplifting. They're not going to spend the money to come down and prosecute that.
So, as police officers, do you just say, all right, I mean, what do you do? I mean,
we do our thing, and then that's on the courts and the district attorney's office. But as an association with the sheriffs and police chiefs, we make sure
Food City couldn't appoint somebody like the manager of the store or whatever?
My understanding is how that Marcy's Law works. It has to be
the victim.
The victim, yeah.
Wow.
So it's super complicated. And again, I don't think any of this is any kind of left-leaning, treachery. I think it's legislators making laws that they don't understand real-world impact.
Exactly. Don't understand.
They have a bunch of meetings, a bunch of conversations.
It all looks good on paper.
It sounds like a fix.
Yeah.
So like recently, the what we've been battling too is the sex offender registry.
Mm-hmm.
So the TBI, unbeknownst to most of us, gets sued at any given time, has about a dozen cases and lawsuits pending from sex offenders. Now, did we talk about this last time?
No.
Okay. So currently, if a sex offender moves from Georgia to Tennessee, right,
They register, right?
Yeah. So the way the state of Tennessee does it is they, regardless of your offense, you're automatically on the most restrictive until the TBI can take your charges from Georgia and all the documents that go with it, and then they try to line it up with Tennessee statute to see where you land under Tennessee law.
In our state, yeah.
And then from there, that's how you report, whether it be monthly, quarterly, every 6 months, once a year, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is a team of attorneys at the TBI. So the Attorney General, or excuse me, the Sixth Circuit, I think it was, came out with this ruling because somebody sued the TBI, and this judge dismissed the case, but said, you have really good merits to your lawsuit. You sued the wrong party. You need to go back and sue your sheriff in county.
Oh, great.
So the AG took that opportunity to tell the TBI, you're getting out of the business.
Okay.
So now it falls back on municipalities and sheriffs. And we've balked on that because they had a team of attorneys that did this. So now I'm going to have my detective who manages my sex offenders look at a 1995 conviction in Nebraska
and see how
try to line that up and classify him correctly.
Here.
Yeah.
And based on that classification, he sues you if it's misclassified or he thinks he's injustice.
Yes. I'm the one that gets sued, or the county as well.
So now you guys got to interpret law.
Yeah.
So your counselors, your police officers, your marital counselors, and now your lawyers.
Yeah.
You don't make enough money, Russell.
So that's a really big deal. Now we're working with the TBI, but evidently last year TBI paid out $216,000, I think it was, in these suits, and that is awards and the sex offenders' attorney's fees.
So that would now fall to counties.
Yeah. So right now, they've extended the deadline for us while we try to get our arms wrapped around it, right? Mm-hmm. And the issue is so our sex offender laws have been modified throughout the years, right?
Yes.
So what really needs to happen is the whole bill needs to be rewritten. It needs to be broke down completely and start from scratch,
and start over,
instead of these piecemeals that we've had.
What's the appetite for that in Nashville?
None.
That's the problem.
None. Nobody wants to take that on.
Well, it seems like it would be easier to scrap the whole thing than it would be to fix it. You know what I mean? It's like when you got a junk car and you keep putting parts on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get rid of the car and let's get a new car.
Yeah. That's what I think ultimately needs to happen. However, and so I just learned about a case here locally where this guy is convicted of a crime, but under Tennessee law, it's not a sex offense. Okay, and I don't even remember what the crime was.
Gotcha.
I just know the guy. It seems like it was some sort of kidnapping or something. So this guy adjudicates whatever his charges are, and he decides, I need to get away from here because my girlfriend, wife, whoever it was, this is going to end up sinking me forever, right? Because we're toxic.
Yeah.
So he moves out of state. When he gets to that new state, he gets arrested for not registering because it's considered a sex offense in their state. And of course, his argument is, I'm not a sex offender. Well, you are under this law, right? So he has to register there. And then he says, I got to get out of here. I got to get back to Tennessee where I don't have to do this stuff. Well, he gets back, gets on some sort of traffic stop, has some kind of contact with law enforcement.
Now he's a sex offender.
He's absconded from another state as a sex offender and now has to register in Tennessee.
Even though he's not.
Not under our laws. But
he would win a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Easily.
And so he's now suing the arresting agency.
Of course.
And I'm sure.
Rightfully, not rightfully so, as in the officers are doing what they're supposed to do, but rightfully so in that he is not guilty.
He's got to get it fixed. And I mean, and he has no other remedy.
Wow.
So it's horrifying. I mean, you can get caught up in the machine so easily, you know.
And so what's the answer?
Legislative body needs to...
Legislation caused the problem.
Yeah, but they... Go get them, Scarborough.
Yeah. Well, in all sincerity, it just seems like, again, you're never going to come to me and ask me to operate on your heart.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I would no more ask a legislator that's never stepped a day into a police station to make law. I don't know why they don't bring in our sheriffs and our police chiefs and our officers and our DAs and all this in the midst of making these laws. And I've heard, we have public meetings, we have that. I don't think that's enough. I think they need to reach out. I don't think they should put the burden on you to find the local meeting, drive to Nashville. They should reach out in doing this if they're going to do it.
Some do. We have conversations with some. We're pretty blessed here locally with our senators and reps.
Good.
They at least hear you out for the most part. But it's like everything else. Once you get down there, you don't know.
Can we sue the state? Can you, Russell Barker, as the sheriff, say, I'm suing the state for unjustly putting a burden on me to arrest a man that's not guilty? You literally held me to account to violate his rights. You made an improper law, and you sue the state. And I would sue him. I would file it just to make...
To file it, yeah.
To make them pay attention.
Yeah. Potentially, I would imagine.
I would do it for the case that's pending right now.
Yeah.
I would file the lawsuit and say, either you guys fix your problem, or then you're going to pay me if you're going to make me fix your problem.
Yeah, I wish I could remember what county that was in. I need to follow up on that.
But it's
one of our neighboring counties.
I mean, if you want legislatures to get to work, sue them.
Yeah, but golly, I remember when it was so simple.
And think about that. Now just think about what we just said, because you've got Nebraska, you've got Tennessee, now you've got a county sheriff's department and a state legislator who are all going to be fighting each other over something that doesn't exist.
So on top of that, but the real crux of it, in my opinion, is this conviction could be from the 90s. And so you have to look at what the laws were in that given state in the 90s. Time. Yeah. And then try to reconcile it with current Tennessee statute.
Yeah, so if something was illegal in the 90s and it's not illegal today, and he comes over here, you're not held accountable for that anymore if that law has been changed.
It's not illegal in Tennessee, yes. That's my understanding.
That is the absolute... that's the typical. That's running on the wheel, though. The hamster on the spinning wheel all the time. That's just a constant. I don't understand how people make rules like that without thinking that stuff through.
Who knows? That's kind of what we're dealing with on the big fronts. Outside of that, we just had a GED class graduated to jail.
That's good.
Part of our programs, we had that, and of course we're gearing up for shopping with the sheriff.
Yes, I was going to ask you about
sales
that.
are going well, and that's one of our favorite things to do.
How many kids you looking to help this year?
It really depends on fundraising. Generally, we do around 100.
Okay.
And we typically, of course, we get some requests, but typically we lean on our SROs and the school system to point them out. One of the things that we try to make sure we do is make sure they're not participating in another program, so that we can spread the love around. Yeah, make sure we're catching everybody.
Good.
And so, but it's really cool. That kind of came from Shop with a Cop.
Yeah.
Which is the big thing. But so I don't know. I've never looked into it, but the urban legend, at least, is that some cop somewhere trademarked that name.
Sure, now you can't do it.
And so Oak Ridge PD does Shopping with a Hero, and we used to participate with them, but then they left.
I'd hate to be the guy that would sue you guys for saying shop with a cop.
Yeah. And then they did they changed who they partnered with, and so that left an opportunity for us to partner with TJ Maxx.
How do you guys fundraise for that, or do you?
Patch sales and donations.
Patch sales and donations.
Yeah, so we come out with specialty patches. Like we've done it for 3 years now. So the first year was a Christmas tree, Anderson County Sheriff's Office patch, but instead of our state seal and stuff, we had a Christmas tree on it.
That's cool.
And then last year was the Grinch, and it was huge shit.
I bet.
And so we did the Grinch again.
I guess so.
And this time, though, we did something really neat. We had a local artist, a young 20-year-old girl who's incredibly talented. We just told her what we were looking for, and she came up with the most amazing patch ever.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Where can folks get this patch?
At the Sheriff's Department, at the records window. Those girls have a stack of them back there.
You should send that out on your little app, on the app, so everybody can see it.
We have, and we periodically hit it on.
I'm on it, but
hit it on Facebook.
Yeah.
But yeah, and of course, every time we do that, we have a lot of local folks, individuals, and locally owned businesses, small businesses that want to get in on that. So
that's cool. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, I mean, outside of legislation from Nashville, things seem to be running smooth here.
Yeah, so
at the
I
house?
Literally just got notified that. So there were. This is another problem too that is going to just grow, because we've dealt with this a couple times before in the last 6 years I've been in office, but it's coming at a quicker pace, it feels like. So we've got a 17-year-old who was put in a juvenile detention facility, and he escaped. Okay. So they've caught him again, and the judge has sent him to us, Anderson County Jail. And so the problems that pose for us is we are an adult facility.
Yeah. And
we have to have sound and sight separation for juveniles, and we just don't have.
How do you do that right now?
What we've done in the past, because, again, we've picked up some violent juveniles. The last one was less than a year ago, probably. We had two who had some violent offenses, and we segregate them in an area of booking, and we have to put them, and it costs us more than just where we're housing them, because we have to empty the holding cells on every side of them as well. And we have to put curtains up, because we can't allow the juveniles to see adults. They can't go to the back behind the wall. So we currently hold them in booking.
Wow. So how's that? I mean, what's the solution for that?
I don't know. Richard L. Bean and Scott County are the two we use.
I was getting ready to ask, are there other counties whose facilities are both set up to where they can have adults and juveniles?
No, not that I'm aware of. Richard L. Bean in Knox County, and the name of Scott County escapes me, but they have separate standalone detention facilities.
But are there juvenile detention facilities that are more guarded, regulated, harder to get out of than others?
No, I think it's all the same. It really depends on your charges.
So if a kid can get out of one juvenile facility, then no sense moving him to a different one, because it's the same kind of...
Well, are you talking about from a security standpoint?
Yeah, because I assume the reason they sent him to you is because he could escape from the juvenile facility, or was it punishment sending him to
you?
Who
knows? I don't even know what the kids' charges are. So maybe they decided, maybe he's picked up enough charges he's going to be...
Charged as an adult?
Yeah.
Well, if he's charged as an adult, you'd think, anyway, he'd be in the adult population if he's going to be charged as an adult. But again, regulations or stipulations placed on you.
Typically, we don't get them unless they're being charged as an adult. Okay. So that very well could be the case.
Yeah, but you still have to keep them.
But I still have to treat them as juvenile.
So basically, you have to build a facility. You have to build a place inside it.
We ain't interested in that.
No, but you're having to right now. Correct?
Well, yeah, we have to modify our booking area to properly incarcerate them.
I talked to the mayor when she was here and about a justice center. So it seems like that. I'm not saying it's growing legs, but it seems to be having a conversation.
I think it is.
I think so.
It kind of died on the vine there for a little bit, but I think it's needed. for a whole host of things.
We were talking about the transportation. For one, I know my Oak Ridge friends are going to get mad, but we extend a courtesy of putting a court down there, and it is certainly a courtesy and a convenience. So if we built the Justice Center, we'd save all that money. I'd end that. We'd have all those officers and the judges here in the Justice Center. You'd end all the gas, transportation. You wouldn't have to have a deputy drive and a deputy guard and have a deputy wait.
Walk them across the parking lot.
Mm-hmm. And so,
I think we have a need for 2 sessions, right?
Yeah.
But not necessarily in 2 different cities. A Justice Center, it would be incredibly helpful having everybody on the same piece of dirt.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, and 2, if we do something like this, and I remember when we had the conversation about building the jail. I remember all this stuff. We need to allocate and budget, whether we do it all at one time or whether it's done in stages, but big enough and large enough to accommodate the current need and the growing need.
Exactly.
And because otherwise, we're going to be back here in 20 more years talking about doing this again. And so that
one of the biggest things Anderson County government has done is when they built Unit 1 at our jail. We have since in my 6 years we've activated it one time, right?
Yeah.
But we are never even remotely close to being in trouble with the state for overcrowding.
Yeah.
Now, if we were to open it, we would have to hire more people.
Sure.
But
if you don't need it, we don't need it.
The biggest issue to me is, Bill, because I know so many sheriffs that are trying to find the money through commission and trying to work on alleviating the overcrowding to avoid lawsuits and sanctions from the state. So Anderson County is in the catbird seat when it comes to that because of Unit 1.
Sure. And luckily, like you said, we don't need it, but we have it, And even if we had built it, if we had planned for it and the money was there as we needed it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying. If we do the Justice Center,
I would really like to see that.
Maybe.
Because I know at one time, but this has been years ago, maybe 1920. And if I could be recalling this wrong, but it seems like we were dropping the sheriff's office and total package about $210,000 a year on transporting just to GS2.
Jeez. And that's just in transportation.
Yeah, but that would be that total would be not just transportation, but the cost of employees and benefits, the whole nine. And of course we've worked it out, but there was a time where it was problematic where the courts would break for lunch, 60-minute lunch. So we would have to pat down, shackle, load up inmates, drive them from Oak Ridge to the jail, get them off, book them back in, feed them lunch, let them use the bathroom, shackle them back up, get them back on the bus, back to Oak Ridge at lunchtime in 60 minutes.
Yeah, that's...
So and we tried a few other things. Judge Tuck's been fabulous as far as working with us on that. And we've brown bagged it, a few times.
Sure.
And so things like that. But a Justice Center would really make a huge difference.
We'll see what happens. I mean, the climate, as far as taxes and as far as revenue coming into the county, we're doing financially. We're in a good spot right now.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't see our revenues dropping. So
there will be some pushback from Oak Ridge.
Moving
their court.
Well, and Oak Ridge does pay city taxes. I understand that. I would suggest that they pick up the transportation. They pick up all the costs to keep their court. Then the city of Oak Ridge.
If they that was an issue at the last county commission meeting over the money that the Boys and Girls Club of Oak Ridge asked for. There was a lot of debate with the commissioners on tax dollars generated from Oak Ridge And
I just don't. Again, I there's a reason I'm not a politician. Because it's a very easy problem to solve. If you want this car, this convenience, this house, this courtroom, write a check. If you don't, we're going to do like every other county. We're the only county in the whole freaking state, I think, except one more, that has a separate county court seat. In the whole 95 counties. What's so special about Oak Ridge? If they want it, pay for it. Write the check or drive to Clinton. If you do a crime, you're going to be housed here in Clinton. You're going to be heard here in Clinton, in the county seat. That's what we are. Nashville doesn't give us little satellite courts. If you get charged in state, you're going to Nashville. So what? Oak Ridge is more special than Nashville? Oh, you're sitting there going, "Oh, shut up." It's not a slight on Oak Ridge, but it's not my burden to pay for somebody that don't want to drive to Clinton to come to court. That's on them. Write the check. You know what? I'll tell you another way to do it. Quadruple the court fees for Oak Ridge residents. If you're going to go to the Oak Ridge court, it's going to cost you 4 times more than the Clinton court. Watch how many come to the Clinton court. I could fix this tomorrow. If you apply a business standard, if you apply a cost-loss measurement to it, if you apply the human cost to it, if you apply even the turmoil you put the criminals through to it, it all says one location, one thing, one seat. So why are we doing it? You know why we're doing it? Because Oak Ridge said, we're Oak Ridge, we've got more money, we've got more clout, we've got more pull, and we don't feel like driving that far. And whoever was in charge back then, Dave Bolin and the county commission and the guys that set that into said, okay. But that's not who's seated anymore. We've got commissioners seated now that can change that. So either I'll tell you what, if they want to keep it down there, then raise taxes. Let's see how bad they want to keep it to raise taxes to fund it. Or, it drives me insane that people can't add in court 2 + 2 = 3, or in politics 2 + 2 = 3. We're only spending $3. No, you're spending $4. In my world, 2 + 2 = 4. I know people are getting mad at me. Oh, you don't understand. I do understand. It's very, very simple. You know what? Anybody thinks I don't understand? Come look at my tax bill on my house and my court, what I pay for my business properties, for me to be able to extend you the courtesy to have a courthouse in Oak Ridge. Yeah, pay my taxes for 5 years, and you can build whatever you want to. I don't care. Done. Sure, show. I should shut up.
No. I think there's, you use the term growing legs. I think it is.
Good.
I think there's a lot of conversations about it, and the everywhere that I know of, listen, it would be the jail, and that property is really the only building that belongs to the sheriff's office, so to speak. Right?
Do people from Andersonville push back because they have to drive? Because it's about the same distance.
No, they don't.
Maynardville? No? Is that on our side? Do they push back? We're gonna build one over there too. That's, again, I've held this opinion since the day of. I don't think it's when we were renting the building from Tony, we had the ample opportunity at that moment when he decided to sell that to Taco Bell, and we had to go and spend $1 million, which the roof still leaks. We can't keep our records down there. The AC stuff is still all screwed up at this very second that we're talking, after $1 million investment down there. We had to put up securities. We had to change windows in a building that's older than your granddad and mine so that Oak Ridge won't have to drive an extra 8 miles. And anybody within the sound of my voice that thinks that that's efficient, then go back to school and take mathematics over. It's not efficient. It's not right. It's not good. Again, I'm not disparaging anybody in Oak Ridge by any stretch of the imagination, but if we can do a justice center and give everybody a better facility, save the entire county, including Oak Ridge, a bunch of money, then do it. Here comes an Oak Ridge commissioner. That's all right. But anyway, I'm going to hush. But that would be good. is there a time frame? Are there discussions? Are there groups being put together, focus groups?
Yeah, so we've had some meetings about it. It's been a little bit since we've had one because we've had so many other things pop off. But it's it's on the table.
Good.
And there's more discussion coming. And of course it's true justice center. You move district attorneys, public defenders, the courts, obviously. All your fee offices and stuff would stay in the courthouse.
Too, it would be a more hospitable courthouse for fee offices and stuff like that, not having to march criminals in and out. Not that you wouldn't secure that, but it would not need the same level of security at the courthouse that I have to go through to go pay my tags.
That's true.
As I would have to go to court. So, I mean, that's an incurred burden on me. Every time I have to go and empty my pockets and take off my watch and put all the stuff through and go through the security. I'm not saying you would end security in a courthouse, but fee offices are not as targeted or dangerous as court offices.
I don't know if you would have security there if you didn't have the courts. I mean,
do they have security up at Jeff's office at Andersonville? Or that's what I'm saying.
We respond. You call 911. We respond.
So that again, all of that, that's a burden on me, the taxpayer.
But that would put all your courts, criminal,
in one location,
chancery, juvenile, and all your sessions.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily saying I'm for it. I'd like see the costs, because I've heard everywhere from $20 million to $60 million and up of what it would cost to do it, and then see how that bounces back versus where we're at. We're getting ready to have a reassessment on taxes, and that's going to be, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Johnny's office is going to be, the phone's going to be ringing.
Johnny's about to be so popular.
Yeah. But in truth and reality, when you buy a home or you buy property, you want it to appreciate. So it's going to be, it's a hard pill to swallow, but
till you sell it, and you're excited.
Yeah, till you sell it and you're excited, exactly. So that, we'll see how that goes. I say that to say this: we can't really make more money on that because we set, the state sets what we can do, and a reassessment does not give the county more money. You lower your rate, or you leave it the same and it still costs the citizens more. But most of the time, usually it readjusts your rate.
Right.
And I still pay the same amount of money, I still pay the same rate, even though it might be more money, if that makes any sense. You understand what I'm saying? So instead of paying $1 on the 100, you might pay 71 cents on the 100, but the 71 cents on the 100, because your house is now worth more hundreds, is more.
Yes.
So I think I got that right.
Yeah. That's how I understand it.
That's it. So there you go. All right.
This is a really good explanation, actually.
You think so?
Yeah.
There's more hundreds. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get more $100 bills when you sell it. So, all right. Last time you were here, you said you took everything to Dave, and you said you expected something in 3 weeks.
No, nothing yet. However, I do know.
I'm talking about, for those of you that don't know, I'm talking about the Anderson County Schools changing scandal investigation, whatever. I don't know what you want to call it. Changing grades.
What has initiated and kicked it off. We are done on our end. It's all in the DA's office.
Were there laws broken? You said before there were 8 misdemeanors that you had uncovered, and that was 9 months ago.
Yeah. Trying to think here with this being.
Well, you could just say, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to press you.
Yeah, so I'm going to say, yes, we found some violations.
All right.
Or at least we believe we did.
Okay.
So Dave will interpret that in his office. And then I do know there's a whole bunch of other attorneys involved. I do know the comptroller has been here. And now their process will be so much longer than us.
Well, and I think I do know this, and I think if you know what's going on, it's easier to kind of digest things. If you've got your local investigation, and then we've got the Attorney General, and then the state comes in. The state is not going to want us to pop off and say, look what we have, while the state's still digging in theirs. They usually, isn't it a professional courtesy that you're going to kind of work with them?
We're going to try.
Yeah.
I mean, so we will be, particularly on the, we're up against statute of limitations on some things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I think that's the whole idea.
On our misdemeanors, we're going to be close on some of those, I think. I mean, just by the nature of 11 months, 29 days, right? However, I don't think any's going to fall through the cracks.
Oh, I just, again, my brain might be shrinking, but I can't put all this stuff together in my head. You did it, you changed grade. If it's a law, you broke the law, you're going to get in trouble. I don't know what the tap dance is all about. Unless, and I say it in all sincerity, other agencies step in, but at the same time, we can't let the clock tick out waiting on other agencies.
Oh.
I can drag another agency to get involved. So drag your feet so that he doesn't get to do this. If I've got clout with the other agency,
I don't think that's the case for us. Okay. I don't.
All right.
I don't know. Honestly, I have to say, I don't know. We are specifically looking at the allegation of grade changes, right?
Specifically.
And if we run into other things, if it's our wheelhouse, we take it. If it's a comptroller issue or something else.
Do you report it if it's a comptroller?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very similar to what happened when you had an allegation against one of your jailers, and you got to digging into it, and you found other stuff that you had to address. Yeah, Same thing. You address it.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter big, little, whatever it is. You address it or move it to the right agency.
Yeah. So in some things are in that case, like with the former corrections officer, that became that we needed a third party such as the TBI. Just because you want some transparency is not the word, because TBI don't give that, but you don't want it to look like there's any kind of retaliation or against the employee.
Sure.
Or any type of home cooking where you're covering something up. So you want a third party. That's like, it's no different than when our patrol cars are involved in a motor vehicle accident. THP works it for us.
You hands off and let it go.
Yeah, they handle the investigation, not us. And
it's the longest running misdemeanor thing that people have been interested in, called me about, asked me about, and it creates, the longer we drag, it creates doubt, the lack of transparency. I'm not saying there is a lack of transparency. I say it creates the chatter of it. Mm-hmm. People, I mean, you hear, oh, it's the good old boy. They fired, he quit so he wouldn't be charged. Then they brought him back on a 180-day contract. You see how dirty they are? I mean, this happens all the time. I get this stuff.
So I will tell you this from my perspective. The saying, wheels of justice are slow, there's never been a truer statement. And what I mean by that is, for example, it is somebody is charged with a DUI, okay? It is a known fact that criminal defense attorneys, not all, but some, will drag it out. Why? Well, the statute of limitations doesn't matter because you file the charges in time. Mm-hmm. So that's not an issue.
Yeah.
But what they're hoping for is the officer quits.
Don't come in.
Yeah, the charging officer is no longer in law enforcement, and they can't find him to serve a subpoena. He's moved out of state. Death of the officer or the offender.
Time's on their side.
And it is legitimately, particularly like in crimes against persons, you see that too, because witnesses die.
Sure.
Witnesses move away. So I mean, it's a technique.
In this case, though, I mean, just there are real life people and individuals involved in all these cases. But, I mean, I'm just going to say Coach Keith because it's right on the top of my head. You've got an individual who was let go, who was told directly from Tim Parrott, you've put a dark cloud over our system. Those are exact words that I confirmed from Dr. Parrott, right? And then I get a statement from Ryan that says he was let go for playing an ineligible player. And that's the news, to make sure that we were clear on that. Well, then Robbie Harrell steps in, who everybody thinks is doing a fantastic job, and says, there was a mistake. We didn't play an ineligible player. Okay? Now, it's not. You can take just that and then take 9 months down the road, shake that all up, and you got a bunch of people going, what are we doing? Why are we hiding this? Why are we not coming forward? If you made a mistake, say you made a mistake. If you didn't make a mistake, if you've got people in there changing grades, you got people in there posting videos of underage kids on TikTok, that's illegal. You're not allowed to do that. Why are we not moving forward? Why are we not protecting our kids from this stuff? And why are we not at least trying to figure out what the truth is on the people that we've already outed? And why are the others not, You don't think that you've got to have heard this you've got to hear it in the community like I do. They don't, do you?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. I just don't understand it. Just if they did something, let's get it fixed and let's punish them and let's move on. If they didn't do anything, let's say they didn't do anything and let's move on that way. But just sitting here and telling everybody if you be quiet long enough, it'll go away, I promise you. Unless I fall over dead, it ain't going away in my book. Not to me.
I don't. I honestly.
And it's our kids. If it wasn't our kids, it'd be a lot easier to tap.
I know I don't have a lot of answers that I can say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But I'm just, with every fiber of my being, I don't think it's one of these things that is trying to run the clock out. I don't.
Oh, I know. I don't know what I think because I don't know what you know.
Yeah.
So all I know are the things that we uncovered, and I know that they changed kids' grades, and I know that that's wrong, no matter what the reason is.
Right.
And I know the people that did it, and I know people that did it are still employed in our school system. And I know that for a fact. Sue me if you think I'm wrong. Because I know it. I can prove it. So I don't understand why we're not, as a school board, making adjustments, as the director of schools firing these people, or as law enforcement attorney general charging and bringing it to light and fixing it. I'm not saying you got to put them in jail, but we do need to fix it. If you get away with it and you're still there collecting a check, who's to say you need to fix anything? It's like raising kids, I'm learning the hard way. It's hard. It's like, anyway. I would like to bring it to end, is what I would like to do.
Nobody wants that more than me.
Okay. So what's new? What else is new?
How about them Vols?
No, hey, stop! Now, you know what? That hurt. That loss didn't hurt me as much as the Arkansas loss hurt me.
I agree.
I feel like Georgia, they, in the second half, they were the better team. We weren't bad. We made some terrible mistakes, and we got some bad calls. That call of the face mask,
yes,
that was a bad call. It's going to happen, But did you read what Nico wrote about? All he came out with was bloody knuckles and torn jerseys from this, and he went through. I mean, it was so eloquently wrote. We are not defined by one game. And losses and challenges, you learn from them. This season is not one game. It was like, for such a young man that I believe about 20 years old.
Yeah.
Such an eloquently written. I'll find it and send it to you. But I read it on the air the other day. But such an eloquently written response to, that game and that loss. And he was like, hey, basically, we'll learn from this. Watch. We are not anywhere near where we're going to be. Yeah, again, looking at the team, and they are a young team too. Really, when you take the coach and the years.
Yes.
So I'm.
And it's tough. Ball fans are hard.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we're hard. So.
Well, I'd hate to be a Florida fan right now. Yeah, we've been there, though.
Yeah.
We've been there.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't say I'd hate to be. I'd say I'd hate to be again because we've been in that seat where you've got 4 wins, playing for a break-even schedule to get to go to a bowl game. That's what they're doing right now. We've been there a number of times. Thanks for coming in, Russell. As always, I enjoy talking to you.
Boy, this was a good show today.
Stop it. So, I do appreciate it. The mayor says she's going to come back more often, which I think is good too, because she's got, I don't know, her insight to the Justice Center and stuff, talking about it.
Yeah.
And no offense, but I think if people hear law enforcement or judges talking about it, they think it's because it would benefit you. But as the mayor, I think that she's earned the reputation of kind of looking out after our financial stability.
She really does.
And so I think that when her coming back and talking about it, or any of the issues, she's kind of the centerpiece. It doesn't help or hurt her to have a justice system. Doesn't help or hurt her for some of the things. But
she's got a really, really tough job.
I believe that to be true. I do.
And Mayor Frank works really hard to try to make the best decisions she can. I don't always agree clearly, but I think she does. I think she does a good job for us.
Well, I think it's just good when you guys come here and talk. When I be quiet and let you talk, to tell people, from y'all's perspective, and like I said, just on that one case, the Justice Center, for her perspective of it is not necessarily from law enforcement. She's looking at from the county, protecting the citizens and their dollar and their investment. So
that's one of the things that I learned early on, right? So I know, county commission and the mayor, they have to look at all Anderson County employees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tasked with just the sheriff's office, but I get that. I have an appreciation of where they're coming from, in the sense that I do have 2 sides of the house. I have corrections and operations.
Yeah.
So, and when you're trying to get new equipment or new vehicles, it's not just for patrol or just for transportation at the jail. It's as a whole. So I appreciate that balancing act. And honestly, prior to being the sheriff, I didn't have that insight.
Yeah. Wisdom comes with years and experience.
Absolutely.
Your hair will get gray here before long, Russell. Take my word for it.
It can turn any color it wants as long as it stops turning loose.
As long as it don't turn loose. Russell Barker, Sheriff of Anderson County, thank you very much for your time. I know that, I say all the time, time's the only commodity we can't get back, and I appreciate you sharing yours with us.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
Have a good day. Have a happy Thanksgiving, pal.
All right, you too.
Thank you for listening to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. each day, Monday through Friday, right here on AM 1380 WYSH and BBB TV 12, or listen live online.